Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we will cover psychology, educational psychology, second chapter, which begins from the definitions of psychology. The core scientific definition of psychology is the scientific study of mind and behavior, focusing on how humans think, feel, learn, and act. Why scientific? Because Psych- psychology uses systematic observation, experimentation, measurement, and evidence-based reasoning to understand human process. Psychology does not rely on opinion or intuition. It relies on data. There are three core components. Number one, cognitive processes, thinking, memory, perception, problem solving. Second, affective processes, emotions, feeling, moods. Behavior, observable actions such as speaking, writing, helping, or avoiding tasks. A clear exam-ready definition of the psychology is the scientific discipline that studies mental processes such as thinking and feeling and observable behaviors, aiming to understand, explain, predict, and influence human actions. Why psychology is this important in education? Because students' learning, motivation, difficulties, emotions, and behaviors are all psychological, and teachers must understand these mechanisms to teach students effectively. Second topic is major branches of psychology. We will explain, we will deeply explain them. Here are some uh, branches of psychology. Number one is educational psychology. Again, the branch of psychology that applies psychological principles to teaching, learning, curriculum design, motivation, assessment, and classroom behavior. What it studies: learning processes, student differences, motivation, classroom management, instruction strategies, assessment, and evaluation. Why it matters for teachers. Educational psychology directly guides lesson planning, teaching methods, reinforcement techniques, diagnostic assessment, and improvement learning outcomes. Second branch of the psychology is developmental psychology. The scientific study of human growth and changes across the lifespan, physical, cognitive, emotional, and social development. Relevance to teaching of this branch is: teacher must know that what is appropriate for each age level: attention span, reasoning ability, emotional needs, peer influence, moral development. Curriculum must watch Curriculum must match the developmental stage of students. Cognitive psychology is the branch that studies mental operations such as memory, attention, problem solving, perception, and decision making. Application in the classroom of cognitive psychology. Designing activities that use working memory efficiently, using chunking, scaffolding, and retrieval practice. Teaching students metacognitive skills, improving comprehension and critical thinking. Behavioral psychology, behaviorism. The study of observable behavior, and the environmental factors, reinforcement, punishment, conditioning that shape it. Educational importance, reinforcement for desirable behavior, reducing disruptive behavior using behavior modification, establishing classroom routines, using token systems, praise and consequences. Behaviorism is the foundation of classroom management. Social psychology is the study of how social interactions, groups, norms, and relationships influence behavior. Educational relevance, the cooperative learning, peer influence, classroom climate, bullying and group behavior, leadership and social rules. Understanding social dynamics improves classroom harmony. Counseling psychology, the branch focused on emotional well-being, coping skills, adjustment, and guidance. Educational relevance, helping students with stress or anxiety, career guidance, in personal counseling, improving socio-emotional development. Clinical psychology, the branch dealing with diagnosing and treating mental, emotional, and behavioral disorders. Teaching relevance, teachers do not diagnose disorders but must recognize symptoms and collaborate with professionals. Psychometrics are educational measurement, the science of psychological and educational testing, including reliability, validity, standardization, and statistical analysis. Educational relevance, diagnosing fair assessments, interpreting test results, item analysis, guarding, grading, and evaluation. Nature and scope of educational psychology. Nature. What kind of field is it? Educational psychology is scientific, uses experiments, observation, questionnaires, and measurable evidence applied. It applies psychological theories to real educational problems. See practical. The goal is improving teaching, learning, motivation, discipline, and assessment. Students centered. It focuses on learners' needs, differences, interests, abilities, and backgrounds. Developmental. It considers how learning abilities change with age. Continuous and evolving. New research constantly updates teaching strategies. Scope. What does it cover? Educational psychology deals with the learner, the learning process, the learning environment, the teacher, assessment, and evaluation. This is why educational psychology is considered the foundation of effective teaching. Importance of educational psychology in teaching. Educational psychology is crucial because it transforms teaching from guesswork into a scientific professional practice. Number one, understanding learners. Teacher learn to identify varying abilities, learning styles, developmental stages, emotional and social needs, learning disabilities. This helps in creating inclusive classrooms. Improving teaching methods. Educational psychology provides a constructive teaching strategies, active learning techniques, concept formation methods, scaffolding, and guided discovery. Differentiated instructions, enhanced motivation. Teachers can use intrinsic motivation strategies, goal setting, self-regulation, interest-based tasks, positive reinforcement. Motivated learns, motivated learners retain more and perform better. Effective classroom management. It helps teachers reduce disruptive behaviors, create rules and routines, manage group dynamics, use reinforcement ethically. A well-managed classroom supports learning. Better assessment practices. Education psychology develops skills for designing valid and reliable tests, formative evaluation, constructive feedback, interpreting results, identifying learner gaps, professional growth for teachers. Teachers learn to reflect on their teaching, make decisions based on evidence, improve self-efficacy, understand students' psychological needs. This leads to continuous improvement. The Frayer model. The Frayer model is a concept learning framework that helps students deeply understand a term by organizing information to four sections. Number one, definition. Two, characteristics. Three, examples. Four, non-example. It promotes conceptual clarity and eliminates misconceptions. Definition. Precise meaning of the concept. Students write a clear, concise definition on their own words, not copied from the textbook, to ensure real understanding. Characteristics. Key features that must be present. There are essential attributes that distinguish the concept from others. It, answer was, it answers what must be true for something to be considered an example of this concept. Examples. Real life are textbook examples that fit the definitions. These, ex- these examples demonstrate correct understanding and application. Non-examples. Items that are similar but not the concept. This is the most powerful part. It removes confusion and builds conceptual boundaries. Why the Frayer model works. Psychological explanation. It is effective because it activates prior knowledge, it encourages deep processing, it reveals misconception, it helps students compare and contrast, it builds long-term understanding, not memorization, it aligns with cognitive psychology schema theory. A perfect example for the Frayer model. Our topic is photosynthesis. Definition: the process by which green plants use sunlight to convert carbon dioxide and water into glucose and oxygen. Characteristics: requires sunlight, chlorophyll, carbon dioxide, water, produces glucose and oxygen. Examples: green plants, algae. Non-example: animals, fungi, humans, fermentation. This format can be used for any term in psychology, science, or education.